Hey, and we're back again. We are continuing our venture into the brows. Today we will be covering pomades, gel type brows, anything like that has to do with that type of consistency. They usually come in little pots, and I'll be showing you a few now. This one is by Anastasia Beverly Hills. It comes in a little pot, as you can see. They all come in little pots. You'll notice that that's the type of brows that we're going to be doing today. Dip Brow Pomade. This is the color Ebony. To me, this looks like a super, super dark brown. It does not look like a black. As you can see, if you put this next to a black liner, you'd be thinking definitely that's like a super dark brown. Of the Brow Pomade by Makeup Revolution. This is in the color dark brown, and it's brown pomade. What I want you to understand is brow pomade, just like every other makeup, has a expiration date. If you look at your any of your makeup, really, it has an expiration date. That is the expiration date from the date you opened it. So the reason why that is so important is products such as this can get dried out. Also contaminated if you're dipping it back and forth, you know. Especially mascara. Mascara, it's got to go. After 3 months, it's got to go. They're super sensitive, so I pretty much can only wear mascara for a couple of times and then it has to go. Even from expensive to more affordable, it doesn't matter. It still affects my eyes the same way. There are very few mascaras that I can wear consistently. But that was off topic. So back to topic. This is by Makeup Revolution. And then I also have one that's in a lighter color. It is by Juvias Place. It's a smaller pot. And this one I don't have the color to for some reason. It probably is on the box. The thing about pomades is you can also use gel liners. If you want to use like yellow or blue or really vibrant colors, or your hair is a vibrant color and you want your brows to match, there is a cornucopia of gel liners, which we will cover more in the liner section of the Fasics. But for now, I want you to understand that you can use those for your brows. They're also meant to go on your eyes, so they're safe for your face. Okay? Also, brushes that you're going to use are going to be very, very identical to the ones that you used for your powder. I also found that I have these, which I was really excited because I knew I had these around here, and I just couldn't remember where I put them, but they're all in my makeup area. I should have known. Anyways, these are two brushes by Essence. Essence is a very affordable brand, and they have stuff like this as well. But their brushes are so well priced and they're really good. These are the Precise Eyeliner brush, and then I have them in size. I'm trying to see if they have a size number on them. I'm not able to see the size on them, but they are slightly different in size. You can see like this one is shorter than that one. So, and a little bit smaller at the top, but they both just say Precise Eyeliner brush. I absolutely love these. Again, I'm bringing out the ones that we used the other day. This is the Smashbox number 12. This would be for more thicker brows, or you want to get it done real quick. This is the Anastasia Beverly Hills number 12. This is the Real Techniques brush. I couldn't read the number on this last time. It's like 341. 341. It's like super small. You can't even really see it. It's like right up there. So you can't even see it. And then this is the e.l.f. brush. It is the small angled brush. So these are the ones you're going to need, and this is what we're going to be working with today. I will probably stick with the Anastasia brush because it kind of is my favorite one to work with, but all of those I absolutely love. I go through phases on which brushes I really want to use or really love to use, or like how I want to do my brows and things like that. You'll notice that I change it up. I also wanted to say that I've noticed in the other brow tutorials that when I do one brow, I have forgot to mention, first of all, your brows are sisters, not twins. Second of all, it automatically gives you a brow lift. This brow arcs more than this brow, but when I do them both together, I can almost make them symmetrical. I could really make them symmetrical if I worked at it, but they flatter my face without making them identical. And again, your face is asymmetrical. So, on with the video. Today, I'm going to work with one pomade. You can work with 2 or 3 like I have done with powders and pencils, but you can also work with just one. You can use different levels of pressure when you're doing them. Also, you can make little hair strokes with the pomade. So you're going to want to be able to learn how to actually move your hand in a certain direction. Hair strokes, remember. Today I think I'm going to work on this brow. I did this brow last time, and you can really see that I already have an arch in that brow. This one is not, you can't see as much. So, and also the tail is shorter, so I really wanted to work on this brow and show you guys that it is feasible to bring a brow that is not really where you want it to be to where you want it to be, or at least almost to where you want it to be. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm actually going to use the Juvias Place, because I'm going to make, this is the lightest shade that I have out of these colors. I also have some that are by ColourPop. I have some that are by Tarte. I have multiple other ones. I'm just trying to think of the ones that offhand that I can, just pop it into my head. I just didn't pull them out because these are all kind of standard when it comes to the way they look and the way they come. They all come in little pots, usually little glass pots. So today we're going to go ahead and I'm going to start with the e.l.f. brush. It has a nice fine point. See how thin that is? See how thin that is? That's amazing. Okay, I didn't know my forehead was going to be able to zoom it in like that, but now I'm going to use my forehead for an example. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to dip into this, but there's a trick to using pomades. First of all, you got to figure out if this pomade is going to be super soft or if it's going to be harder, because you need to figure out what kind of pressure it is. If you're going to use a harder one, you're going to use like a harder pressure to kind of get in, and you kind of scoop it back and forth. The first time I ever used like gel type liner, it was from Smashbox, and I was like, holy cow. I had to pause the video because my mom called in the middle of it, and let me tell you what, when your mom calls, you answer the phone. Okay, so like I said, you got to figure out the pressure. If it's a super soft type of material, you don't want to go ahead and jab your brush into it. You're going to ruin the pot. You can see where I went to do that the first time I ever tried this. Now, the one I'm going to do is go ahead and I have a little bit on my brush. Sometimes if I get too much, I'll wipe it on here and just kind of use this as like my palette. But I don't really have a lot. I was very careful. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and do what I did before in the other videos. This nostril, the curve of this nostril right here, we're going straight to the brow. Okay? And we're going to mark it. Okay? Got that. Then we're going to go out here, brow. Remember, I'm angling them ever so slightly. So, nostril, corner of the eye, angling it outward. There we go. Let me explain something to you about marking your brows. You're not always going to have to do this. I don't usually have to do this ever. But this is for very for beginners. And don't take that as an insult, because we're all still learning makeup. Go directly through that pupil. Don't poke yourself in the eye. I've done it a million times. So even though I've done makeup forever and ever, I literally have poked myself in the eye I don't know how many times. Especially when I'm doing liner, you'll see that. That'll be a fun whole section that I do. Okay, like this. This, looking straight ahead. I'm just using the camera. Gotta bring this down. Okay, see that? Alright. In the middle. Through there. And we're going right through there. Yep, that's about where my arch is. If you can ever see it. Okay, so, again we have these funny looking marks. Don't let those put you off, okay? We're just using them as a guideline. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and grab that ebony. You know I love to color in the outside of my tail first because, you know, I have none. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to reach in and I'm going to grab my mirror and look down. I'm going to get a little bit of the Anastasia Beverly Hills Ebony on my e.l.f. brush. Just a tiny bit. You're going to dab your brush in it. You can be very careful. It's like dot, 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 dot. You're just getting the end. Okay? And I'm going to take this. I'm going to angle this joker out. Let me tell you what. This eyebrow is always so hard. And like I said, remember how I said like a little triangle? You're going to meet up with where your arch, that line for your arch is. And there you go. There's your little triangle. Okay? See? And I brought it all the way out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to dip back into that. And you really want to make sure that you have your brush loaded up. Like I'm literally just like, but this stuff, even though it's got a 6-month life on it, you're not going to go through it by the time the 6 month has expired, unfortunately. Now that the edge is drawn, you don't have to make it perfect or anything like that. We're just really trying to get the look, the actual shape in first. Remember like we did over here with the other products? Okay. Now I'm taking my, like, you see how I have to kind of, because this is my opposite arm. My cat is hitting my thing. When you're using your opposite arm, you have to, for your brow, you kind of contort yourself into like weird situations. Like me, I've got the mirror here, and then I've got like my arm over here. I mean, you see. So anyways, I know we're not all contortionists. I'm definitely not, but, you know, trying here. Okay, now what you want to do is you want to carve out underneath and follow your brow going up to where the arc of your brow is going to be. Okay? And just fill in underneath. One thing about pomade that is very different than the other ones is if you are trying to grow out your brows and you have that funny little, you know, something that's going on, like hairs or random, whatever. Pomade is like a thicker product, so it's going to stay in that spot better, and it's always going to be higher pigmented because you're not really drawing tiny hairs. You're more like filling in the brow. I mean, as you saw, I literally got rid of that entire gap. Now I am making this brow look a little different than what I normally would because I just want to show you how I just filled that in. right there. All that got filled right in. You can't even see that I had no brow there because the pomade is thick and pigmented. I am still using the Anastasia Beverly Hills Ebony. I have a habit of tapping things off on my mirror. Pomade, you don't have to do that. So now I'm just going in, kind of building it up, connecting it to the tail, and working on filling in that tail. As you can see, already it's a huge difference than the powder and the pencil. It's not nearly as natural. Like, you literally know that I have something drawn right there. So now I'm dipping back in. Keep holding my mirror, but dipping back into the same color. And again, I like the gradient look, so I'm gonna so for me to achieve that with pomade, like powder, you have to kind of start further back, because if you start up front, you're gonna end up with that block brow that we've talked about. And so I'm gonna brush down so I can see my brow. Brush down. And light-handed, whereas I put more pressure down here, I'm going to use a light hand up here. You can see how it's starting to come together. But with a lighter hand, it doesn't make it as harsh up here. I'm just going to go in and kind of color that. Because in the mirror it looks one way, and in the screen it looks another. Moving on, I'm going to switch to the dark brown pomade by Makeup Revolution. Sometimes they go by I Heart Revolution or just Revolution, and there's like a new one like Love Revolution or Revolution Love. So they have a bunch of different names for them. And again, this is very different feeling. Like, even this one feels different than the Juvias Place or the Anastasia Beverly Hills. It's more dense. You can see how dense it is. Like, I have to really push in it. You see, I'm really pushing. Okay, so next we're gonna take this lighter brown. I know I said I wasn't gonna use two colors, but I can change my mind. So with this, I'm going to show you a few things. I'm going to show you the gradient, and then I'm also going to show you little hairs. So I'm going to look down, but so that you guys can see. Because I marked way over here, I'm going to start. This brow starts a little bit further back. Got to carefully draw these in. Hairs are really hard to draw in when you're using anything but pencil or the pen brow, from what I've found. Anytime you screw up, don't stress about it. You're going to fix it. Concealer can fix a lot of things. Even if you're wearing like full foundation, everything like that, don't worry about the concealer. I'm also showing you that you can extend your brow. You can make it bigger. Pomade is very, it's pigmented, so you can hide, like, the fact that you've over-tweezed or whatnot. And let's face it, a lot of us have over-tweezed. I tweezed a lot, but luckily I stopped before I caused any permanent damage. And as always, I'm combing through to get a good look at it. Remember, ignore this line right here. It's fixing to go away. And keep working with it until you feel comfortable. Now, when I use pomade, for some reason, I always want to like make them extra bushy and a little, I don't know, more dense looking, which is fine. It's your prerogative, it's my prerogative. I'm just blending the two lines together because I really like to have that. But even if you look at this brow before I take off all the marks, can you see how much larger this brow looks than this brow? And really, I have tweezed them pretty much the same size, except you really, I don't know, when they're not colored in and stuff like that, you really can't tell. But I've actually changed my brow some, just so you can see the magnitude that pomade and or gel liner, whatever you want to use in this type of little pot scenario, can really do. You can't tell really that I have had any type of change underneath there. Now if you give me a minute, I'll take off all the markings and we'll see what we have. One thing that I also really love about pomade is it helps to keep your brows in order. I mean, we'll move into the brow kind of glues and brow freezes and stuff, products that keep your brows in line. But pomade kind of helps with that because of the stiffness of the product. And I think the way the product is made, it helps keep your hairs kind of where they need to be. Which for me, that's a plus because my brows tend to go kind of everywhere. As you can see, I have changed my brow just from pomade, and you can't tell. I am really close. Now, if I had this all lined out in a full face, you wouldn't be able to see all my pink and all this, you know. So just focus on the brow. Okay, focus on the brow. Look at the difference. You can see a drastic difference in my brows. This looks much fuller. This looks more angled. You have a nice arch there. You have a nice point here. It's gradient. It looks like little hair strokes. The great thing about that is if you get a stiff enough brush, which is really easy to do if you don't have one, you can actually, this sounds horrific, I know, but get one that's small enough to what you like and then glue it to where it's stiff and thin, and then you can literally draw in those hairs. Don't think you're going to be using that brush for anything else really, but yeah, you can really use that to draw in some great hairs. I mean, as you can see, it looks like I have more hair up front, and we all know I don't. We know. But the difference is drastic. Anyways, if you guys found this video interesting, educational, or discovered something new about it, or just enjoyed watching it, go ahead and give me a big thumbs up, and also subscribe to my channel so you know when I'm loading up the next part of the Fasics. Thank you so much for watching. Have an awesome day.